Hello 365 nerds, I'm Daisy, aka The Red Writing, and today I'm going to do a video for you about the stupid things that I thought when I was little. And believe me, they're stupid. One of the least embarrassing things on my list is that I used to think the hash browns, you know those potato-y things, I used to think they had drugs in them because they were called hash browns, and hash is like a slang name for marijuana. And one time when, I'm not going to say how old I was because it's quite embarrassing.
12.
My mum cooked me hash browns and I was like, "Mum, why are you trying to drug me?" And then I had to explain that I thought hash browns had weed in them and she laughed at me. Okay, the second thing, which I think is probably quite cute because I was really young at the time and about 4 or 5. My dad convinced me that there was no colour in the world before 1970. His evidence for this was the film The Wizard of Oz, which he said was filmed in 1970, and I believed that. I was 5. So I always thought that there was no colour before 1970, and that just made sense to me. And then I told one of my teachers that, and they laughed at me. I tell people things that get me laughed at a lot. Another thing that I used to think, this was about the time that I started making tea for my parents, so I would have been about 8, I don't know. I used to think that the kettle would explode and that it would melt my face. And I used to be terrified to watch a boiling kettle because I thought that it would just be like phew, and then my face would be all melty and then I would have no face. And that really scared me because I like my face. When I was younger, I'm again not going to say how much younger, probably 12. A lot of things happened when I was 12. It used to be in my life dream to be a journalist. And you're thinking this is a normal thing to want to be a journalist because you write stories about the news and interesting things that have happened. But that's not why I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be a journalist because I thought that it would give me superpowers and that I would become a superhero. Because Superman wrote for the Daily Planet and Spider-Man took photos for a newspaper, and I always thought that there's a link between superheroes and newspapers, and I never realised that they worked for the newspaper because they were a superhero. I always thought it was the other way around. Another thing that I used to believe when I was little is that in Australia everything was upside down and everyone used to walk on their hands. Because it's on the other side of the world, but gravity goes this way, so I didn't know what gravity was, but I knew that everything went down. And so I thought, Australia, it's on the other side, it's on the lower half, but they must be upside down, and they must have to walk on their hands, and they must have to sit on the table with their feet. And I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, I thought everything was upside down in Australia. Another thing that I used to do quite frequently is whenever spam callers called, I would answer the phone because my mum would be upstairs, or I would freak out and think, oh no, the phone's going to keep ringing, we're not going to answer it in time. And I would answer them, and then they'd be a spam call, and I'd be like, oh, she doesn't live here. They'd just hang up because I told them that my mum didn't live there. But one day the bank called and it was important, and my mum was in the bath, and I said, she doesn't live here, and then my mum got in a lot of trouble with the bank. And then I got in a lot of trouble with my mum. That was a fun thing. Possibly the worst thing that I did when I was younger, this was from about the age of 6 till about the age of 9. I thought that nothing interesting could happen to you if you had parents, and I tried to convince my parents that I was adopted because in a lot of the books that I'd read, the main character was an orphan and they had loads of exciting adventures. I mean, Harry Potter, his parents died and he's a wizard. That's pretty cool. I mean, he's not a wizard because his parents died, he'd be a wizard anyway, but still, I didn't make that link, I was 7. And Batman, his parents were killed and now he fights crime, and it's amazing, and everyone loves Batman. I want everyone to love me and to be a superhero and to be a wizard and to be amazing. I wish my parents were dead. And because of this, I tried to convince my parents that I was adopted. And I would tell any of their friends that I was adopted. And if, like, my mum had a new boyfriend, I'd tell him that I'm adopted. And I think this really upset my parents. And I didn't really realise this because I was so young. I feel now that they would have been insulted that I didn't want them to be my parents, even though I thought that they were great. I wanted exciting things to happen in my life. So, DFTBA, and bye! Jump cut.
You touched my camera, you mib. Look at the hair colour. This was a recent thing. I think it's very pretty.
I'm trying to attract a Remus Lupin.
Yeah, it's pink and blue, and you couldn't really see it until I turned the light on. Because I am a bad cameraman.
You're a terrible cameraman. Love you.
Love